Hey, y'all, welcome to the video today. Of course, it's your girl Tonetta, so definitely welcome. Today we're having a cozy reading break. I wanted to try to do something a little bit more cozier. Of course, something that you all probably would enjoy as well if you like, of course, reading books and that kind of thing, or listening to books being read aloud. So, recently I just joined the TikTok must read challenge, and of course, this is part of me doing this challenge. I guess I put it that way as well. So like I said, definitely hashtag must read. But like I said, this is me reading a cozy, a book. Well, this is a cozy reading break. Like I said, I'm on chapter number 8 of a book called The Blue Castle, and it is a copyright-free publication that I got from Gutenberg Project. So, like I said, that's all they have on there. I put it that way. So like I said, definitely this should be a very interesting reading. I'm pretty sure of this chapter. So, like I said, come on ahead and join me, y'all. And just to let you know, just in case, why in the world am I reading this? Like I said, I do this on I have a podcast called The Black Girl Who Reads. So I read the books on there on my podcast as well. And you can find, of course, the link is in the description of this video. But that's not what about this is. I want to make sure that we start having some type of reading corner. I put it that way. Because like I said, I definitely enjoy it. And of course, it helps me to, of course, be able to speak, to talk, and to get words out, and to stay on my path of, like I said, improving my speech. I guess I put it that way as well. Just in case y'all did not know, I used to stutter very, very badly. Probably couldn't even get these words out. I'm pretty sure I couldn't back in the day. So like I said, the reading helps me, and of course it helps you, of course, relax and feel good and that kind of thing too. So let's go ahead and get into this. Like I said, this book is called The Blue Castle. So that's chapter number 8, y'all. Valancy did not sleep that night. She lay awake all through the hours. She lay awake all through the long, dark hours, thinking and thinking. She made a discovery that surprised her. She, who had been afraid of almost everything in life, was not afraid of death. It did not seem in the least terrible to her, and she need not now be afraid of anything else. Why had she been afraid of things? Because of life. Afraid of Uncle Benjamin because of the menace of poverty in old age, but now she would never be old, neglected, tolerated. Afraid of being an old maid all her life, but now she would not be an old maid very long. Afraid of offending her mother and her clan because she had to live with and among them and couldn't live peaceably if she did not give in to them. But now she hadn't. Valancy felt a curious freedom. And I want to thank you all for tuning in that's on here right now. From what I can see is Zoe, Janice, Haley, Chocolate, Day, oh yeah, I'm going to pronounce that wrong because I can't pronounce, but Day, I can't get the rest of the name, but is it Yafreezy, I think? Is it Lilo Paz, Sandra, Lady, Tippy? Thank you all for tuning in. Like I said, I'm reading chapter number 8 in a cozy book reading from the book The Blue Castle. But she was still horribly afraid of one thing: the fuss the whole jamfree of them would make when she told them. Valancy shuddered at the thought of it. She couldn't endure it. Oh, she knew so well how it would be. First, there will be indignation. Yes, indignation on the part of Uncle James because she had gone to a doctor, any doctor, without consulting him. Indignation on the part of her mother being so sly and deceitful to your own mother, Doss. Indignation on the part of the whole clan because she had not gone to Dr. Marsh. Then would come to solicitude. She would be taken to Dr. Marsh, and when Dr. Marsh confirmed Dr. Trent's diagnosis, she would be taken to a specialist in Toronto and Montreal. Uncle Benjamin would foot the bill with a splendid gesture of munificence, I guess that's the word, and thus assisting the widow and orphan, and talk forever after of the shocking fees specialists charged for looking wise and saying they couldn't do anything. And when the specialist could do nothing for her, Uncle James would insist on her taking purple pills. I've known them to to effect a cure when all the doctors had given up. And her mother would insist on red ferns, blood bitters, and Cousin Stickles would insist on rubbing her over the heart every night with red ferns liniment on the grounds that it might do good and couldn't do harm. And everybody else would have some pet dope for her to take. Dr. Starling would come to her and say solemnly, "You are very ill. Are you prepared for what may be before you?" Almost as if he was going to shake his forefinger at her. The forefinger that had not grown any shorter or any less knobbly with age. And she would be washed and checked like a baby and never let do anything or go anywhere alone. Perhaps she would not even be allowed to sleep alone, lest she die in her sleep. Cousin Stickles or her mother would insist on sharing her room and bed. Yes, undoubtedly they would. It was this last thought that really decided Valancy. She could not put up with it, and she wouldn't. As the clock in the hallway below struck 12, Valancy suddenly and definitely made up her mind that she would not tell anybody. She had always been told, ever since she could remember, that she must hide her feelings. And I'm sure, ladies, this is about a lady, I'm sure some of y'all can identify with that. Because family sometimes can be crazy, and sometimes you can't say nothing. And I remember growing up back when I was a kid, I was told, I forgot the exact phrase, but everything stays inside this household. Nothing is, of course, taken outside the household. Meaning that nothing, no trauma, no dramas, no issues, all those types of things. And I'm sure y'all can identify. Let me know in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. It is not ladylike to have feelings. Cousin Stickles had once told her disapprovingly. Well, she would hide them with a vengeance. But though she was not afraid of death, she was not indifferent to it. She found that she resented it. It was not fair that she would have to die when she had never lived. And let me give y'all a little bit of backstory, y'all. This is a 28-year-old, I think she's 28, because I've been reading, like I said, this is chapter 8. A 28-year-old lady who is still living at home with all her family and is being, had been, of course, controlled by her family, what to think, what to believe, what to do, how to act, and all those types of things, and, of course, made fun of and mimicked and all this because she wasn't married or had children yet. This book would have been back in maybe like 100 or so years ago when it was customary, I would say, for a young lady to have been married by the age of 20, have kids and all that type of stuff, and living her own life with her husband in her house. And at this point, at 28, almost 30, she does not. But she just found out in the chapter 7, if y'all would have been there for that. Like I said, it is on my podcast, The Black Girl Who Reads. Link is in the bio as well. And on my YouTube as well. But like I said, she, in chapter 7, had been diagnosed with a serious illness that did not give her long to live, maybe like a year or 2 at the most. Just in case y'all wonder what is going on, what's happening. That's a little bit of the backstory. Okay, so let's go ahead and get on back into this. So like I said, she found that she resented it, meaning death. It was not fair that she should have to die when she have never lived. That's what that's, like I said, I want to explain what was going on because that's what that sentence comes in at. Rebellion flamed up in her soul as the dark hours passed by, not because she had no future, but because she had no past. Y'all, I'm sure some of y'all can identify with that. Good Lord. I'm poor, I'm ugly, I'm a failure, I'm near death, she thought. She could see her own obituary notice in the Deerwood Weekly Times, copied in the Port Lawrence Journal. A deep gloom was cast over Deerwood, etc., etc. Leaves a large circle of friends to mourn, etc., etc. Lies, all lies. Gloom, forsooth, nobody would even miss her. Her death would not matter a straw to anybody. Not even her mother loved her. Her mother, who had been so disappointed that she was not a boy, or at least a pretty girl. Valancy reviewed her whole life between midnight and the early spring dawn. It was a very drab existence, but here and there an incident loomed out with a significance out of all the proportions to its real importance. These incidents were all unpleasant in one way or another. Nothing really pleasant had ever happened to Valancy. I've never had one wholly happy hour in my whole life, not one, she said. I've just been a colorless non-entity. I remember reading somewhere once that there is an hour in which a woman might be happy all her life if she could but find it. Now, I hadn't heard that, so I don't know what that hour is. If somebody knows, let me know in the comments, because I need to find it too. I've never found my hour, never, never. And I never will now. If I could only have had that hour, I'd be willing to die. Those significant incidents kept bobbing up in her mind like unbidden ghosts, without any sequence of time or place. For instance, that time when at 16 she had blued a tub of clothes too deeply, and the time when at 8 she had stolen some raspberry jam from her Aunt Wellington's pantry. Valancy never heard the last of those two misendeavors. At almost every clan gathering, they were ranked up against her as jokes. Uncle Benjamin hardly ever missed retelling the raspberry jam incident. It must be some good jam, I must say. Oh, goodness. He had been the one to catch her face all stained and streaked. I have really done so few bad things that they have to keep harping on the old ones, thought Valancy. Why, I've never even had a quarrel with anyone. I haven't had an enemy. What a spineless thing I must be not to have even one enemy. There was that incident of the dust pile at school when she was 7. I'm trying to sit up here right, y'all. Valancy always recalled it when Dr. Sterling referred to the text. To him that hath shall be given, and from him that hath shall not be taken, even that which he hath. Other people might puzzle over that text, but it never puzzled Valancy. The whole relationship between herself and Olive, dating from the day of the dust pile, was a commentary on it. She had been going to school but a year, but Olive, who was a year younger, had just begun and had about her all the glamour of a new girl and an exceedingly pretty girl at that. It was at recess. And all the girls, big and little, were out on the road in front of the school making dust piles. The aim of each girl was to have the biggest pile. Valancy was good at making dust piles. There was an art in it. And she had secret hopes of leading. But Olive, working off by herself, was suddenly discovered to have a larger dust pile than anybody. Valancy felt no jealousy. Her dust pile was quite big enough to please her. Then one of the older girls had, had an inspiration. Where's my water, y'all? I hope y'all got y'all something to drink, because I know I do. My throat is tickly right now. I'll leave my water up here. Get whatever y'all want to drink, y'all. I'll put it that way. Thank you, Adrian, for joining as well. I appreciate that. And thank you, Gail, Vault, Kathy, Jennifer, Samantha, Unpopular, JJ, Beautiful, Kimmy Lee, Z, Jane. I know a lot of people on here, so I'm probably missing folks. Brandy, Sandy. Is it Michaud? Is it Imnu, I think? Nanny. Thank you all for tuning in here. Shelly, Annette. Thank you all. And I'm reading the chapter number 8 of a book called The Blue Castle. Let's put all our dust on Olive's pile and make a tremendous one, she exclaimed. A frenzy seemed to seize the girls. They swooped down on the dust piles with pails and shovels, and in a few seconds, Olive's pile was a veritable pyramid. In vain, Valancy, with scrawny, outstretched little arms, tried to protect hers. She was ruthlessly swept aside, her dust pile scooped up and poured on Olive's. Valancy turned away resolutely and began building another dust pile. Again, a bigger girl pounced on it. Valancy stood before it, flushed, indignant, arms spread out. Don't take it, she pleaded. Please don't take it. But why? Demanded the older girl. Why wouldn't you help to build Olive's bigger? I want my own little dust pile, said Valancy piteously. Her plea went unheeded. While she argued with one girl, another scraped up her dust pile. Valancy turned away, her heart swelling, her eyes full of tears. And I'm sure we all can identify with being bullied back in school. I can tell you that. I know I was too. Jealous, you're jealous, said the girls mockingly. You were very selfish, said her mother coldly when Valancy told her about it that night. That was the first and last time Valancy had ever taken any of her troubles to her mother. And this was in grade school, y'all. They have a tumultuous relationship. I know this was in the first 7 chapters, but like I said, they have a relationship that probably a lot of young ladies or older women, women period, have with their mothers. Like I said, not everyone does, but there are some who do. Valancy was neither jealous nor selfish. It was only that she wanted a dust pile of her own. Small or big, mattered not. A team of horses came down the street. Olive's dust pile was scattered over the roadway. The bell rang and the girls trooped into the school and had forgotten the whole affair before they reached their seats. Valancy never forgot it. And those types of things that, of course, is traumatizing for us, I guess I can't say traumatizing in that kind of way, but that makes us mad, or I guess is traumatizing as well. We normally don't forget those too often or too easily. To this day, she resented it in her secret soul, but was it not symbolical of her life? I've never been able to have my own dust pile, thought Valancy. The enormous red moon she had been rising right at the end of the street one autumn evening of her 6th year. She had been sick and cold with the awful, uncanny horror of it. So near to her, so big. She had run in trembling to her mother, and her mother had laughed at her. She had gone to bed and hidden her face under the clothes of terror, lest she might look out the window and see the horrible moon glaring in at her through it. The boy who had tried to kiss her at the party when she was 15. She had not let him. She had evaded him and ran. He was the only boy who ever tried to kiss her. Now, 14 years later, Valancy found herself wishing that she had let him. The time she had been made to apologize to Olive for something she hadn't done. Olive had said that Valancy had pushed her into the mud and spoiled her new shoes on purpose. Valancy knew she hadn't. It had been an accident, and even that wasn't her fault, but nobody would believe her. She had to apologize and kiss Olive to make up. The injustice of it burned in her soul tonight. That summer when Olive had the most beautiful hat, trimmed with creamy yellow net, with a wreath of red roses and a little ribbon bows under the chin. Valancy had wanted a hat like that more than she ever wanted anything. She pleaded for one and had been laughed at. All summer she had to wear a horrid little brown sailor with plastic that cut behind her ears. None of the girls would go around with her because she was so shabby, nobody but Olive. People had thought Olive was so sweet and unselfish. I was an excellent foil for her, thought Valancy, even though she knew that. Valancy had tried to win a prize for attendance in Sunday school once, but Olive won it. There were so many Sundays Valancy had to stay home because she had colds. She had once tried to say a piece in school one Friday afternoon and had broken down in it. Olive was a good reciter and never got stuck. That night she had spent in Port Lawrence with Aunt Isabel when she was 10. Byron Sterling was there, from Montreal, 12 years old, conceited and clever. At family prayers in the morning, Byron had reached across and given Valancy's thin arms such a savage pinch that she screamed out of pain. After prayers were over, she was summoned to Aunt Isabel's bar of judgment. But when she said Byron had pinched her, Byron denied it. He said she cried out because the kitten scratched her. Ooh, that makes me mad, y'all. I'm sure that makes y'all mad too. Put it in the comments if it does, y'all. When somebody's up there bothering you and trying to get you in trouble but hurting you and everybody and nobody else sees it, but you have a scratch or a pain or whatever's going on and you're trying to tell the truth and nobody believes you, that is very, very angry. That makes me upset. I've had that happen many a times, y'all, back when I was growing up too. And I know I'm not alone. He said that she put the kitten up on her chair and was playing with it when she should have been listening to Uncle David's prayer. He was believed. She wasn't. In the Sterling clan, the boys were always believed before the girls. Valancy was sent home in disgrace because of her exceedingly bad behavior during family prayers, and she was not asked to Aunt Isabel's again for many, many moons. the time cousin Betty Sterling was married. Somehow, Valancy got wind of the fact that Betty was going to ask her to be one of the bridesmaids. Valancy was secretly uplifted. It would have been a delightful thing to be a bridesmaid, and of course she would have to have a new dress for it, a pretty new dress, a pink dress. Betty wanted her bridesmaids to dress in pink, but Betty never asked her after all. Valancy couldn't guess why, but long after her secret tears of disappointment had been dried, Olive told her. Betty, after much consultation and reflection, had decided that Valancy was too insignificant. She would spoil the effect. Oh, wow. That was 9 years ago. But tonight, Valancy caught her breath with the old pain and sting of it. That day in her 11th year, when her mother had badgered her into confessing something she had never done. Valancy had denied it for a long time, but eventually, for peace sake, she had given in and pleaded guilty. Miss Frederick was always making people lie by pushing them into situations where they had to lie. Then her mother had made her kneel down on the parlor floor between herself and Cousin Sickles and say, "Oh God, please forgive me for not speaking the truth." Oh wow. Valancy had said it, but as she rose from her knees, she muttered, "But oh God, you know I did speak the truth." Valancy had not then heard of Galileo, but her fate was similar to his. She was punished just as severely as if she hadn't confessed and prayed. The winter she went to dancing school. Uncle James had decreed she should go and had paid for her lessons. How she had looked forward to it, and how she had hated it. She had never had a voluntary partner. The teacher always had to tell some boy to dance with her, and generally he had been sulky about it. Yet Valancy was a good dancer, as light on her feet as thistledown. Olive had never lacked eager partners, was heavy. The affair of the button string when she was 10. All the girls in the school had button strings. Olive had a very long one with a great many beautiful buttons. Valancy had one. Most of the buttons on it were very commonplace, but she had 6 beauties that had come off Grandmother Sterling's wedding gown, sparkling buttons of gold and glass, much more beautiful than Olive had. Their possession conferred a certain distinction on Valancy. She knew every little girl in school envied her the exclusive possession of those beautiful buttons. When Olive saw them on the button string, she had looked at them narrowly but said nothing then. The next day, Aunt Wellington had come to Elm Street and told Miss Frederick that she thought Olive should have some of those buttons. Wow. Grandmother Sterling was just as much Wellington's mother as Frederick's. Miss Frederick had agreed amiably. She could not afford to fall out with Aunt Wellington. Wow. Moreover, the matter was of no importance whatsoever. Aunt Wellington carried off 4 of the buttons, generously leaving 2 for Valancy. Valancy had torn these from her string and flung them on the floor. She had not learned that it was unladylike to have feelings and had been sent supperless to bed for the exhibition. Let me get some water, y'all. The night of Margaret Blunt's party. She had made such pathetic efforts to be pretty that night. Rob Walker was to be there. And 2 nights before, on the moonlit veranda of Uncle Herbert's cottage at Mistawis, Rob had really seemed attracted to her. At Margaret's party, Rob had never asked her to dance, but did not notice her at all. She was a wallflower as usual. That, of course, was years ago. People in Deerwood had long since given up inviting Valancy to dances. But to Valancy, its humiliation and disappointment were of the other day. Her face burned in the darkness as she recalled herself sitting there with her pitifully crimped, thin hair and the cheeks she had pinched for an hour before coming, in an effort to make them red. All that came of it was a wild story that Valancy Sterling was rouged at Margaret Blunt's party. In those days in Deerwood, that was enough to wreck your character forever. It did not wreck Valancy's or even damage it. People knew she couldn't be fast if she tried. They only laughed at her. I've had nothing but a second-hand existence, decided Valancy. All the great emotions of her life has passed by me. I've never even had a grief. And have I ever really loved anybody? Do I really love Mother? No, I don't. That's the truth, whether it's disgraceful or not. I don't love her. I've never loved her. What's worse, I don't even like her. So I don't know anything about that kind of love. My life has been empty. Nothing is worse than emptiness. Nothing, Valancy ejaculated the last nothing aloud passionately. Then she moaned and stopped thinking about anything for a while. One of her attacks of pain had come on. When it was over, something had happened to Valancy, perhaps the culmination of the process that had been going on in her mind ever since she read Dr. Trent's letter. It was 3 o'clock in the morning, the wisest and most accursed hour of the clock, but sometimes it sets us free. I've been trying to please other people all my life and failed, she said. After this, I shall please myself. I shall never pretend anything again. I've breathed an atmosphere of fibs and pretenses and evasions all my life. What a luxury it will be to tell the truth. I may not be able to do much that I want to do, but I won't do another thing that I don't want to do. Mother can pout for weeks. I shan't worry over it. Despair is a free man. Hope is a slave. I heard all that, girl. All right now. Valancy got up and dressed with the deepening of that curious sense of freedom. When she had finished with her hair, she opened the window and hurled the jar of potpourri over into the next lot. It smashed gloriously against the schoolgirl complexion on the old carrot shop. I'm sick of fragrance of dead things, said Valancy. All right, y'all. That's the end of chapter number 8. That was a good chapter, I think. Like I said, this young lady, she's been controlled by her family. She's 28 years old, almost 30 years old, but has been controlled by her family all her life. What she can't do, how she can't dress, what she can't wear. She was the one who's always been picked on, laughed at, made to feel like she was nothing. It's from what she's saying. Like I said, it was definitely a great chapter. And now she's saying she doesn't, of course, she wants her freedom. She wants the freedom to do what she wants to do and not nobody else's. I know at some point we all get to that point. I'm at that point too. So I know some of y'all ladies out there can identify with this. And gents, I know there's some gents on here as well. I know some of y'all can identify with this. Like I said, at some point, we all get tired of being knocked down, beat up on, used and abused and traumatized and all this stuff. And you want to do things on your own terms. And yes, I don't know how the rest of these chapters are going to go. But in my mind, at some point, everybody going to be pissed at her. Folks are going to be mad at her. It always happens. When that pattern changes from you being the yes girl and the yes man and I'm going to do this for this person, I'm not going to put up a fuss and they're going to control me and I'm not going to say anything. At some point, you get tired of it. And that pattern changes. It changes everything that you do from that point here on out. And it changes the household too. And people start getting pissed off about that. So like I said, I cannot wait to see what's in this next chapter number 9. And I hope you all come back and join me. So make sure that you, of course, subscribe to my page here. Like I said, definitely, I appreciate it, y'all. I'll see y'all in the next chapter. And I want to say thank y'all. I didn't even go over all the names. Let me see. Samantha, I know there's a lot of names, but that's okay. Samantha, Gail, Vault. I'm sure I'm missing some people. Annette, Shelley, Curtis. Is it Jerry Lane? Jocinda, Cher, Marie Paulus. Is it Linda Smith Moore, Sydney, Paranormal Jack, Janae, Ray, Bray or Bree, Barrio, Autumn, Bandito, S-Boy, Sandy, another Sandy, Minpin, 1983, Cornelius Woods, Gerald Atkins, Cindy. Like I said, thank y'all for tuning in today. I really, really appreciate that. Like I said, this is Tonetta, of course. And of course, my podcast is called The Black Girl Who Reads. And that's where this will be going to. My YouTube channel and the podcast, which you can get with the link in my bio. So like I said, y'all, this was a powerful chapter. This girl is waking up. You know, a lot of us wake up when we're sick and tired of things. Once we get to our point that we can't take it no more. I woke up too. And it definitely did change a whole lot of dynamics. I put it that way. Y'all, I can't wait to see chapter 9. And I hope y'all, like I said, subscribe to come back and join me. Peace out, y'all. I'll see y'all later. And again, take care, y'all. I'll give y'all a heart, too. Thank you. Thank you.